So I'm going to reiterate our mission statement. The Oakland Chamber of Commerce works to represent and advance its business community, striving with constant integrity, fairness, and cooperation to promote and improve the economic atmosphere, the business climate, and the image of Oakland. I will introduce myself again as Eileen Curlin-Walsh, your new president. Very excited to be so for 2021, and principal attorney at Curlin-Walsh Law in Palos Heights. We're going to start by recognizing the newly installed 2021 executive officers and board of directors. So if you're here, give us a wave. Term expiring 12 of 21. We have Mike Abdullah, Joe Swalinski, Bernard Deere, David Dewar, Greg Greiman, Tom Javorek, Jeremy Merrick, Ginger Morgan, Charlie Shirk, and Sharon Vetch. Term expiring 12/22, George Caceres, Mary Downing, Paul Enderly, Kathleen Farrell, Dr. David Finkelstein, Dr. Casey Hogan, Ryan Lichter, Mike Reardon, Aaron Shippa, Noel Shalaby, Jill Stetson, and Mike Sitko. I have been going rather quickly through that. I didn't read your businesses. Today, we want to make as much time as possible for our State of the Village address. That is our star today. Our executive board, Jeff Reynolds as treasurer, Phil Costello as second vice president, Jim Minkina as first vice president.
Whoa!
Hello? Okay, continuing. We're going to do our announcements now rather than at the end because we do want to move on to the State of the Village address. So we have member in the spotlight slot still available for 2021. Contact Anne at the Chamber office if you're interested. This is a very inexpensive way. Market your business. We have 600 current and past Chamber members on our list, as well as members of the community through the Chamber's social media pages. Also, Sharon is always quick to remind us to purchase our Bonanza raffle tickets. She's not able to go through the tables as she normally would be doing on a day like today. So if you would like to buy some of those Bonanza raffle tickets, which are fun, very good chance of winning and are great for the Chamber coffers, just go ahead and put your name in the chat right now, your phone number, and Sharon will follow up with you to get you some tickets. We also want to encourage all of you to get involved in the Chamber by participating in one of our many committees. We have talked about these committees a lot today. I'm just going to let you know what particular committees we need additional chairs for. All of the committees, we are looking for members all the time. In particular, a need is with the Ambassador Committee for a co-chair, the Business Advisory Council for a co-chair, and the Legislative Committee also needs a co-chair. So if you have some time and you are able, as those of you both continuing members and new members know, it is part of the commitment you make when you agree to sit on the board that you will become involved in one of the committees. So these are sort of the lifeblood of the Chamber, and we do need you to get involved. And it is the only way to get to know everyone, to get to make those valuable commitments. It's not the only way, but it's a good one. So if you are able to give a little bit of your time, call Anne at the Chamber. She'll let you know how to get in touch with any of the committees, and in particular, the committees that are looking for co-chairs at the minute. Our announcements with regard to upcoming events, we have the Ambassador Committee will be hosting a new and prospective member breakfast. It's still virtual. It's going to be at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, February 17th. We also have an upcoming ribbon cutting for Sassy Girl Marketplace, and that is on February 15th. Let's see, do I have the date that is on? And I think I lost the time of the ribbon cutting for Sassy Girl. Is it 12 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, so 12 noon on the 15th.
And I believe it's Monday.
Yep, it's Monday, February 15th, and that's in Palos Heights. So even though it's not an Oaklawn business, it's a chamber member. And so we welcome any members who are interested in attending the ribbon cutting to join us for that.
All right, and we are also welcoming a new member today, and that is Sports and Ortho Physical Therapy. Colleen Perkle, are you here, Colleen? I see.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, hi and welcome. We will not give you an opportunity to chat about your business today, but we will at the next luncheon. Colleen, welcome to the chamber. You're going to love us.
Thank you.
And I am going to very soon turn this over. First, we're also going to welcome our dignitaries who are here with us today for the luncheon and the State of the Village presentation. We have Stephen Papa George from Moraine Valleys Community College. He is the executive director. We have, and he is also the executive director of their community and continuing education. Welcome, Kelly Burke. Thanks so much for always supporting the village and the chamber, our state representative. We have Tom Hartwig, director of the Oaklawn Park District. Carol Williams, who is director of the Oaklawn Public Library, and Diane Toussignon, who is the Village of Oaklawn Director of Emergency Communications. So I am going to now thank everybody for joining us, not just for the luncheon, but for the 11th annual State of the Village Address. We are now excited to welcome the village president, Dr. Sandra Burry, in addition to our dignitaries, all our members, our community members, and our board members, as Dr. Burry will give us her State of the Village presentation. And you will all need to mute yourselves now, or Anne, if you want to go ahead and mute yourselves. We will have a Q&A after the presentation. So if you want to make some notes while Dr. Burry is speaking. So Dr. Burry, the stage is yours. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Oh, what a year we're having in the village of Oaklawn. How about it? I tell you, I've been agonizing over this presentation. It's going to be different this year. First of all, with the format. First of all, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Wave if you could hear me. Okay, great. With the format, I'm not as accomplished at Zoom as all of you have become. Thankfully, I don't need it for my work too much. So I made the choice not to do slides. So you're going to have a talking head staring at you for the next few minutes, and I'm going to try to keep it interesting, but I appreciate your understanding with the slides. It was just too much for me to try to coordinate. This year is very, very different. As we all know, the pandemic has impacted every aspect of our village, every single home, every single business. And I'm going to primarily highlight our different departments, but also from the perspective of the pandemic, how it's affected our community, our village, and our operations. And then I want to kind of look forward to the year ahead, getting past the pandemic. We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I'm getting my second vaccine tomorrow. You know, we are moving through this. The village of Oaklawn, you know, many people think we do everything, but really we do. We have separate taxing bodies in Oaklawn. For example, our schools are separate, our library is separate, our park district is separate. What the village does is pretty much operations essential to life. So think of water, police, fire, emergency communications, sewers, and streets. And during the pandemic, our focus and our priority has been on maintaining all of these services for residents. And I want to show you just how difficult that this has been. When the shutdown happened in the spring, our administration, started to restructure. We looked at everything. We anticipated about a 10% loss to revenue, and how are we going to maintain all the services we provide when we have nothing coming in? We did eliminate, sadly, some positions. We have always tried to make cuts based on retirements or just natural attrition. As people move on, we can consolidate and restructure. However, the urgent nature of this wouldn't let us do that. Our village manager, Randy Palmer, I don't think he's on this call, but I want to compliment him and our management team. We really had the right man at the right time. His military training, he could just say, okay, we have this, and we're going to do this, and that. And it was very, very fortuitous of us to have the team we have. And I just want to thank all our management team for being so nimble and open-minded when all hell broke loose. Just as all of your houses have been impacted, the village has quite a bit as well. When you think of direct government assistance from Washington, many businesses got PPP loans, many homes got stimulus checks. The village of Oak Lawn didn't get any direct funding from the government almost 1 year into the pandemic. We were very fortunate to get a CARES grant funding of about $800,000. Thank God. We are extremely grateful for this, but this is not direct funding. It kind of flows from the Fed government to the state government to the counties. And it has kind of narrow criteria how it can be used. So we certainly can use it, but it's not replacing the lost revenue that we've seen. Most counties, I'm told, share this amount about 50% with their municipality. Because Cook County is so complex and they have the hospital and all the costs associated with it, of the CARES Act money that flowed to the county, the municipalities only got about 12.5%. And Oak Lawn did better than most, I'll be honest with you. Our unique situation with 5 nursing homes and the hit we took early on in the pandemic kind of raised us up in the funding. So we were very appreciative of that. But in 2020, basically, we're short millions of dollars in revenue. And this has been really, really a tough time. Sales tax revenue, all of you who closed down in the spring for 3 months, all of you who are still struggling to keep your revenue at what you were experiencing, all of that affects what the village takes in sales tax. In 2020, we believe it's about $1.8 million less in sales tax revenue. And so this just reflects how our community is struggling. Gaming revenue, we're down hundreds of thousands of dollars in our gaming revenue. And that is, we don't like these gaming machines, but they do generate income. Another sign of the times, our travel industry has been curtailed, and Oak Lawn is not generally thought of as a tourist destination, but we do have very successful hotels and motels in our town. The Hilton is one. Many, we tried to help them, but they were severely impacted. And our tax revenue reflecting that downturn they faced, we are down hundreds of thousands of dollars with that. All of you have seen projects I talked about last year. Hey, we're going to build this, we're going to build that, we're going to build all those things. Well, they're not being built. Everyone's just kind of holding back till the pandemic eases up. This is affect our permit fees. And you don't think of this as being something, but we're down about $500,000 in permit fees, which is horrible because things aren't being built. Everything's kind of grinded to a halt, but that's revenue we do not have to provide services. Ambulance fees, people weren't going to the hospital. They were hunkered down at home. And the village does collect revenue from insurance companies for driving people to the hospital. And we are down, believe it or not, $250,000 in ambulance fees. Think of the impact also on tickets written and fines. People weren't going out. Everyone's kind of staying home. So there's fewer traffic fines and fees. I don't have a number for that, but all in, the village is really, really struggling, and we are still making it work. Still the services are being provided. Our budget for 2021 is $62 million, and our tax levy is about 1/4 of that, so about 15 million. As you can see, that the property tax levy is just a small portion of our municipal budget. All these other resources, like I've been outlining, are how we provide these services. So you could see how precarious things are getting for us. It's imperative that we all get our economy back and that we shop locally and get everything going again as quickly as possible. It is impacting so many subtle things, so many profound things in the village. And again, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our team, who have been so positive throughout all this. It's been very, very challenging. Everyone's got a can-do attitude. I wish all of you could see the professionalism, and I just want to publicly thank them. I'm going to just talk briefly about our different departments. Our police department, and I'm going to talk about our emergency operations center, which is a subdivision of our police department. Most people don't know this, but we are one of the few municipalities that have an emergency operations center. So you may have seen us do training over the years, different active shooter drills. We did mass drug distribution drills, all of these things. We've been doing this since 2009. They are dealing literally with hundreds of daily calls, phone conferences, meetings, thousands of hours of service to residents. This is the first pandemic we've had in more than 100 years. And the investment we've made in Oak Lawn with these various agencies like county and state public health and emergency management agencies, our regional health coalition partners, Oak Lawn schools, long-term care facilities, and our local nonprofits. All of these relationships kind of benefited, I feel, early on in the pandemic from having this emergency operations center in town. These tabletop drills we've been doing have really kind of prepped the system. And this is the year when all that investment kind of came to work for the taxpayers. The staff in January started preparing for the pandemic, and they focused on three things: obviously maintaining services, but support the most vulnerable Oak Lawn residents. Oak Lawn has a statistically higher number of senior citizens and people with disabilities than the average community. We wanted to make sure that they would be as safe as we could. And then also, obviously, the financial impact of the pandemic had to be dealt with. So early on, we started reaching out to schools and getting the county public health department to give presentations, and we're still ongoing with those efforts. We also reached out to churches to kind of reinforce and maintain that safety net. So many of our local churches do call trees or food pantries. We wanted to make sure we could support them with whatever they needed. If you remember early on, you couldn't buy gloves in the store, you couldn't get hand sanitizer, there just was no PPE. No one even knew what PPE meant in January. By March, we were like, where's the PPE we needed? We really, really struggled to get this to the agencies. Our EOC had access to various stockpiles, and over 55,000 pieces of personal protective equipment were delivered to Oak Lawn nursing homes, Oak Lawn responders, employees, shelters, nonprofits like Park Lawn, and vulnerable residents. So I'm talking gloves, booties, masks, gowns. And what was so key is this was so critical at the time to have access to it. Having those relationships in place made this flow much more easily. And most importantly, it was at no cost to the taxpayers. This was all stockpiles that we had access to through those relationships. And I want to thank, there was a time when our nursing homes couldn't get gowns, and we were improvising with garbage bags, and we were calling schools, hey, do you have garbage bags we can use? And everyone pitched in. I wish all of you could have seen how the community came together. It is absolutely one of the most horrible memories I have and one of the most beautiful. And as I'm doing this presentation, I'm thinking of it from a historic perspective, because really this is a moment in history in Oak Lawn. And I wanted to really reflect how that community came together. So we also work to support our business community. We had, I don't know how many of those small business conferences. Our banks worked with us. We got the PPP program going. Our EOC was also working with our county partners to help get our businesses involved in business that would be needed. For example, the Hilton we were able to secure a contract for them for first responder respite care. So all of these things were early on. Long-term care facilities were all hit hard. Many people don't know, but Oak Lawn has 5 nursing facilities. And our EOC and police department have been in contact with them every day to see what they need for support, to maintain counts, to see where the trends were, report that data back. The police, besides being on the streets, being there to protect us, our birthdays are different, our parties are different. The police have participated in numerous drive-bys throughout the year for morale. And who's seen one of these drive-by? Our first responders have been doing them all year, and we encourage that. When a kid is stuck at home or someone's, just feeling miserable and they have a big event, to see a little parade go by just for them, this is wonderful. Our police department partnered with local churches and the Greater Chicago Food Depository. There were 5 food drives organized. We delivered over 54 tons of meat, produce, milk to families impacted by job loss. No questions asked. We just got the food out there. It was a volunteer effort. And I want to give a shout out to the officers working for that. They volunteered on their off time, to make these events happen, because you did need traffic control. We did need the police involved. And I just want to thank our police for stepping up. That was wonderful. And in addition to that, our police purchased local businesses gift cards and donated them to local nonprofits like Ronald McDonald House, Park Lawn. And so they were helping our business community stay afloat and also helping these nonprofits. Unfortunately, our senior center closed during the pandemic, and this is indefinitely, we don't have plans yet to reopen that. These efforts are ongoing. However, in the absence of the senior center, we have been making calls. We have a whole list of seniors, and every week at least they get reached out to, and we make sure they have what they need and that they're not forgotten, and help keep them connected. So the pandemic caused loss of revenue. We were aggressively pursuing any grants or reimbursements we could. I'm proud to say Oak Lawn was first out of the gate, out of 134 municipalities, to complete the CARES grant process. And at the end of February, received over $800,000 in grants. And we're still pursuing grants. And Rep. Burke, if you're on the call still, we need money, help us. and our legislators are very strong advocates, and they always look out. So it really comes down to vaccines. We've been working daily with the Illinois Department of Public Health, the Cook County Department of Public Health, to complete the Tier 1A and 1B vaccinations. As you know, this is limited by 2 things. You have the uncertainty of knowing when the vaccines are coming, and you have such a small amount coming. If you do the math in Illinois, figure 12 million people. If you want 80% of them to get 2 vaccines, and each vaccine takes 20 minutes, do the math. It's really going to be a massive project to get this done. And so what we're seeing are the early steps. For those of you who have loved ones, please keep up to date with the county. There's a website. It's on the village webpage, vaccinations. If you search Vaccinations Illinois, that website will come up. These are ongoing efforts. Our crime statistics, normally I put up a slide, and this is probably going to show backwards, but I'm going to talk about it. This is 2010 to 2020 crime statistics, and these are to the best of our knowledge at the time of the State of the Village address. So for example, the number may change slightly depending on what happens when it moves through the judicial system. But in general, we're down in every category, significantly so, with assaults and burglaries. Robberies are down, rapes are significantly down. Where we see the greatest increase is motor vehicle thefts and in the theft category. We saw a big jump. People are doing identity theft. We think we have over 200 cases. Chief was not able to quantify it because our data doesn't have a line item for that, but the numbers have increased over 200 since last year. We believe there are more than 200 cases of people applying for unemployment insurance fraudulently under someone's name. I've had this attempted with me 3 times this year, so this is a big issue, and many of us are reporting these crimes, and so the theft numbers have increased. I will post these numbers on the Mayor Barry Facebook page, but the police are doing a great job with all the challenges they have. And frankly, you know, when we talk about protecting those core resources, our police and our public safety net, you know, if they're out making calls and getting exposed to a lot of things, you really have to be very careful of that resource, because one goes down, then their crew goes down. It doesn't take long for us to have a significant weakness there. So our budget for police, $23.4 million in 2021. Our fire department, amazing fire department. Chief Riddle gave me kind of a little statement to read. The Oak Lawn Fire Department answered 8,378 emergency calls for medical, fire, rescue service, and they raised thousands of charitable dollars for our citizens, neighbors, children's in need, organized blood drives, served 1 citizen per hour, every hour, all year during the most deadly pandemic in over 100 years. At the Oak Lawn Fire Department, your life is our mission. I think that's a great statement. I wanted to read it in its entirety. The fire department trains continuously all year. We have a training tower just west of Ridgeland in about 93rd, and it simulates kind of a multi-story building on fire, and they practice all the time. Not only do they practice for fires, but also for medical emergencies and various traffic situations. They've raised thousands for Special Olympics and autism awareness, and I was able to participate with them. They cheered on crews at the Advocate Christ Medical Center when they were changing shifts and dropped off food and flowers. When everything shut down, many blood drives were canceled. Our fire department had 2 blood drives to help manage that dire need. If you've been by them around the holidays, they installed North Pole mailboxes at every fire station so kids could drop off their letters to Santa. And there's a new chapter in Oak Lawn. It's called Project Fire Buddies, and they bring smiles and gifts to area children afflicted with serious disease or cancer, and they hosted a virtual toy drive. So when you think about our calls for fire service, you see the fire trucks going down and you think, oh my God, there must be a fire somewhere. Chances are it's not a fire. 70% of the fire department calls are paramedic related calls or EMS calls. Only 3% of their calls are fire calls. And of that 3%, less than 25% of those are building fires. So this is primarily due to safer materials, less open flames, and better municipal codes with building, all of those things. So the fire department, think of them as your EMS department. They are there for you in a fire. There was one today around 103rd and Central. I'm still waiting for an update. I think everyone's okay there. We spend $17.6 million on the fire department. Going to talk about public works. We've completed 17,000 water meter changes. This is a huge project. It was pretty much took so much effort during the year to get everyone on board. Every single business, every single home has a new water meter. These are really cool meters because they're self-monitoring, and there's a system called Watersmart that you can sign up for. If you have not signed up your home or business for this, please go to the website, search for Watersmart, and there's an application. So you can monitor your water usage at all times. And what's really cool is if there's a spike that you don't expect, it will not only notify you, but it will notify us that you probably have a leak. And it's finding some really interesting things. Many residents are like, no, I don't have a leak. But we occasionally get people with these really high random water bills, and we want to eliminate all of those. So catching the leak right away is critical. And the water meters will also help us listen to the water mains themselves. So if there's a water main break, we can isolate it quickly where it is and when it's happening. So this is a free app. Please take advantage. Our water project's moving along. We still have to dig up the street where the water main crosses Southwest Highway and 95th. We're going to wait a little while on that. The flood control initiatives. So flooding is a big issue. When Oak Lawn was built up, there's not the drainage put in that newer communities have. We don't have big detention areas, and all construction moving forward will have that. But in the meantime, most of our community does not. A lot of our problem is the way the stormwater gets filled up with other water. So these are called non-conforming hookups. And we have an infiltration and inflow inspection program, which includes a low-cost program for homeowners to identify conditions that affect performance and capacity. And we'll share the cost 50-50 to correct this problem. And I hope everyone takes advantage of this. And you don't want to do it before you sell a home. This has to be taken care of before the home is sold, for those of you in the real estate business or thinking of selling or moving or buying into Oak Lawn. That's an important thing. Our roads, we're constantly trying to find less expensive ways to do the same work. And there's technology that the giant machine comes to the road to resurface it. And traditionally you'd scrape it all up, haul it away, and then lay it down, and then another crew would come through and put new blacktop down. Well, this technology, it chews up the road as it's resurfacing it, and it takes that same material, recycles it, and on the spot resurfaces that down. It's pretty cool technology. And in communities where this is working, it's really saving them money, getting very good results, and a much quicker kind of way to turn that road around so that the residents are not so affected. We were going to do a pilot program, but it was so good in other towns, we decided, no, let's just roll with it. Our tree program, and I do have just a few more items. How am I doing on time? You guys doing okay? Okay, very good. I'm used to doing this with slides. I don't know if I'm going too fast. I don't know if I'm too boring. I don't know. But we're a tree city now for 25 years. What does that mean? It means our commitment to our urban tree canopy is being recognized. So our trees are critical. In Oak Lawn, they estimate the property benefits of our canopy at $852,000 and the ecological benefits of over $2 million. So what does this mean? It helps uptake water, filter groundwater, reduce the energy demands, reduce greenhouse gases, all of these things. It helps keep our community healthier, and our community forester would like you to know she's accepting applications for Parkway trees. So if you want a new tree in your Parkway, she's doing the organization for the spring planting. An application is available online. Let's get more trees in Oak Lawn. And let's see, I think our public works budget is $6.8 million for 2021. Okay, and I'm going to talk about our emergency communications. Diana, are you still on the call? She's our emergency communications director. And for 2020, her department answered a total of 216,000 calls. Imagine that. And of those, an astonishing 103,000 were 911 calls. 35,000 were for emergency lines and 77,000 were non-emergency lines. Our Norcom dispatchers, we have a partnership with them, and they had this unique award called Call of the Month for May. Who remembers May 31st? All the looting, all the craziness? Was anyone on this call listening to our dispatchers online? Oh my God. It was something. I did not put my phone down all night. I sat listening to our professional team. So the calls they had that day, typically the 3-year average for calls was 854. Okay, we were asking people, there was a curfew, we were asking people to report any suspicious activity because none of us wanted our businesses to be affected, looted, our homes. We didn't want any mischief. We did keep most of the mischief out. So typical 854 calls. On May 31st, 2020, they received 1,797 calls. That's astonishing. They were working not only with Oak Lawn, they were coordinating between agencies using the Chicago Police Department zone radio. So this was critical for looting that was experienced in Evergreen Park and in Chicago at 87 and Kedzie. And as these departments kind of interacted, our call center really showed their stuff and all their training. And Diana, we're so proud of all of you guys. We're looking to maybe expand this department. They are bursting at the seams and we are studying it right now. And Diana's talking with our partner agencies. We do dispatch for many different communities besides Oak Lawn. And so we're looking to, as we implement newer technology, have the space to fully realize that technology. And, you know, I just want to give a shout out to them. If you've ever had the unfortunate opportunity to call 911, you know what great team this is, and they really take every call so seriously. Our budget for that department is $668,000 for 2021. So just briefly highlighting economic development. Stony Creek Promenade is pretty much done. We have one more pad site. We're in negotiations with a restaurant for that location. We would really like to see that. The village purchased the Automotion property just to the west of there, kind of behind Park Lawn and behind the tile store. We are looking at a couple things. We are trying to see what would be the best fit. We've talked with people from a kind of sports recreation kind of facility to senior housing, stormwater detention, mixed use of all of those. So we are in active discussions with entities who are interested in taking the exciting vibe on 111th and Cicero West. I do believe we'll see a residential component there. Just to the north of that property is Wolf Wildlife Refuge and the pond there. And we're looking to maybe see that expanded, do something with MWRD to help the flooding issue. If we can kill many birds with one stone, that's the plan. Oaklawn Commons, our Amazon Fresh store is opening this Thursday. We're kind of excited. It's been a long haul. We'll have them as the main anchor on 95th and Pulaski. DuPage Medical will be in the center. We were supposed to have a health club on the west end of that, but health clubs unfortunately had a very bad year and they went bankrupt. So they will not be putting a health club there at least anytime soon. They are looking for retail to go in there. And then the pad sites will be built out. I'm not going to make announcements. One will be a restaurant on a freestanding pad site, and then a little more food centric one in the spot next to Panera. So we're excited about that. Pete's Fresh Market, they are doing it right. They take their time. They are a family run business and it's not going to be quick. And The only thing I can tell you is we miss having a store in the center of our town. Pizza's going to do a beautiful job. They're investing a huge amount. They bought the apartment building behind there, the house. The whole property now is leveled, and they're looking to probably go underground for the majority of the parking for that store and have the store with some ground parking, but a bigger store on that footprint. They were hoping to expand the footprint a little more, but the numbers didn't work and the numbers had to make sense. So that's where we're at. Unfortunately, we're probably looking at late 2022, but more likely 2023 when that store would open. But you're going to see more activity there. Our Duncan in the center of town by the Children's Museum, they're ready to submit permits. We are still looking for the restaurant to accompany them or the business to join them in that space. If anyone has ideas for a dynamite restaurant in the center of town, we want to hear about it because we prefer to see a restaurant there than smaller storefronts. It's a unique piece of real estate in our community, and we want to add vibrance. Many of the construction projects are kind of stalled. I don't think last year I talked about A&W. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. The pandemic's impacted so much of this. So the village, just talking numbers again, I'm sorry to just be a talking head with all these numbers, but I think it's important to get it out there. This is my last one as your mayor, so I kind of want to talk about 2013 to today. So our debt in 2013 was 88 million, and we've got it down to 61.4 million. So we've lowered the debt in my tenure, 27 million. What this allows us to do is pay more for pensions. And, it's really challenging. Our tax levy, I have lowered the tax levy or held it flat every year, except this year. It's killing me. We're short 670,000. There's just no way I can find the revenue anywhere. We have sharpened our pencils. We believe a last resort should be property tax increase because we know the biggest barrier to success, the reason we have empty storefronts, it's because of the high taxes in Oak Lawn and the burden the business community pays with the higher percentage of taxes. So it's the first tax increase. If we can find a resource before March when the levy is due, we are still looking as a board. We are not quite there yet, but presently it's a 670,000 tax increase, which breaks my heart. So pensions, my God, our pension problem is huge. This is the one thing I had hoped to make a bigger dent on in my time as mayor. When we started in 2013, and I'm missing papers. Oh my. Okay, I didn't print all to the end of them. So in 2013, we were just paying a portion, just a couple million. This year, we're paying about 10 million. In a few short years, we're going to be paying more in pensions every year than our entire property tax levy. So let me say that again. Every penny we collect in property taxes, every penny your hard-earned businesses pay is not going to be doing any work in the community. It won't be helping public safety. It won't be improving roads. It won't be doing anything for the here and now. It's paying pensions, and even then some. It won't cover what we have to pay. So I think in the term of the next mayor, it will exceed our tax levy, which is horrifying because it shows you how important it is to grow the local economy, get all these things going. It's frightening that this is the situation we're in. I don't know how we can make a promise that we cannot keep, and our pensions are a promise, and we have to find a way to keep that promise. But if we can't pay it, we have to fix it moving forward. It is devitalizing this community of everything we could do. When I became mayor, I had so many ideas. Hey, we could do this, do this. And then I saw the numbers and I was like, wow, we're just going to be lucky to tread water. And that's pretty much where we're at until our legislators in Springfield can, really find a solution. Unless we fix it moving forward, it is horrifying. and we've been downgraded every year by Moody's. Moody's is a rating agency, and they work for people who are buying municipal funds, for example. We work for the taxpayers, and we've struggled. Should we raise property taxes to just keep that pension kind of going, or it's really a tough thing. And we ultimately felt the community could benefit by a pension funding policy that gently increases that amount year by year. So as we're reducing our debt payments, we're increasing our pension contributions, we're growing the local economy. It's a lot of ifs, but it's really hard. That's the one thing I wish we could have gotten ahead of, and I'm going to continue to work on that. I'm certain when I'm done being mayor, because our community will never grow if we cannot get ahead of this. And so I'm sorry to end on such a down note, gosh, but it's hard to think what the end cap will be on my term. And I feel very positive about what's happened in this community in my tenure. The team we have really works together well. Stony Creek Promenade was an empty parking lot when I took office, and all of the economic development, the Advocate Clinic in town, Grace Point, all of these big projects, by our communities investing in ourselves, we're on the map now, and we're attracting businesses like Hubbard Street Group coming in, and all of these things are essential moving forward, because again, most of our revenue is not from property taxes. We want to keep the taxes low. And so I'm kind of babbling, but I just want to thank you for the great privilege of representing this community. I really struggle how to put an end cap on it. And I just want to say it's with gratitude and joy. What a privilege to serve you guys. And with that, I feel the best days are ahead of us. I feel as we come out of this pandemic, we're going to all have this hunger to go out to eat, go out with our friends. I want to go shopping in a store, don't you? I mean, I want to try clothes on and hold it in my hand. I don't want to order anything from online anymore. I want to spend money locally, and I know other people feel the same. So let's hunker down. Let's get through it. Let's get our vaccines. Every person who gets a vaccine in their arm is one less person who's going to spread it. It's the only way we're going to get to the other side of this. Please don't be fearful of it. I just can hardly wait to get my second one. Help those who don't have access to the computer, try to get an appointment. It will get better as we start knowing what dosages are coming. It's very frustrating for all of us, but keep at it. So with that, I just want to thank you again. I want to open it up for questions and any comments, anything like that. So, and I'm going to let you kind of direct this, because I'm not as Zoom savvy as you guys are, or Eileen.
Well, I just want to make one comment, Dr. Berry, and that is a huge thank you from all of us. This is not ending on a negative note. You and what you were able to do for the village last year, as well as what Katie did for the chamber, was absolutely outstanding. And in addition to those very successful initiatives over the course of your terms, you showed up and showed up and showed up, and not just for the big fancy events with cutting of ribbons and dignitaries, even the little Cub Scouts where there was only 3 of them, you showed up. You've been wonderful, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you've done for the village. We will miss you. We will really miss you, and you've supported the chamber tremendously.
Thank you. You guys, the chamber, all of you are just wonderful. You don't know the love I feel for all of you, and the pride I have in all of you, just hunkering down together, getting through this. So, but any questions about the village? Thank you, Eileen. You're such a sweetheart.
Well, you answered my question. My husband gave me a question for this. For my assignment was to ask about when is his his Dunkin' Donuts gonna be there? Because he's been waiting for his Dunkin' Donuts at the train station, you know, right next door here.
Yeah.
So you did answer that, so thank you for
Yeah.
updating us on that.
So it's gonna be really nice. It's gonna have a drive-through, and the traffic signal on 50th Avenue there, 50th Court, will be probably another year because of Metra not having the funding for the signals. But we're ready to go on our end. Once Metra does that, we just need IDOT to turn the signal on, and we'll peel the little stripes off the road and get going. But you're going to see construction. They want to start in the first quarter.
Awesome.
So,
Great.
excuse me, the second quarter.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions for Mayor, I guess I would have remind you to unmute yourself and then maybe state your name and ask your question.
Yes, I had a question. Thank you, Mayor Berry, for your service. Appreciate it. And you're in a very unique position because not only are you the mayor, but you're also a business owner. So my question is, going into the future from a perspective of both, but on the business side, what would you say to business owners, brick and mortar business owners in Oak Lawn, to encourage them to kind of see, where they could, go and, have more success or more business going into 2021 and into the future?
Yeah, so people have to understand your dollar is your vote. And if you send your dollars to an online website in Utah or Nevada or New York or out of the country for that matter, your dollar goes and never returns. So, I think the Shop Oak Lawn message that the chamber has had these years, and I've tried to hammer down, has been so critical, because the way we're going to succeed is by committing again to saying, yeah, I want to shop in stores. I want to do it locally. Things a business owner can do is be welcoming and inviting and try to make your store look fresh and have a vibe about it. And, I think when you look at new businesses in town, the ones who are really successful, create kind of an energy about them, and it's hard to do. It's uncharted, but like anything else, if you bring your passion to it, life rewards that passion. People sense it, people get excited about it. But we just have to support each other, and the village will continue, I'm hoping, to support the chamber. Presently, I don't want to talk politics, but there's one person on the ballot, and that person I know has been a strong supporter of the chamber as well. So there may be a write-in candidate or two, I don't know, but your vote every day is your dollar. Where do you spend your money? Can you buy it in Oak Lawn? If you can, shop Oak Lawn. That's what you've got to do. That's the only way we're going to survive. And as an elected official, we work so hard to keep the taxes low, because the taxes are what determines your rent or your ability to, and okay, that is the most beautiful dog, Marguerite.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got lost in the cuteness of that dog. I'm sorry. Anyway, did I answer that okay for you, David?
Oh, that's good. That's good. And I know during the parade, we always have the banner,
Yeah.
shop local. So really make an effort to shop local and support your local businesses. And
Yeah.
expansions, I'm chomping at the bit to go to that Amazon. You said it opens Thursday.
Yeah, opens Thursday.
The 11th. So that should be an opportunity to spend some dollars here in Oak Lawn. It looks like a
Yeah, so they're going to have a smart cart system where I guess it will only hold 2 bags of groceries. So those of you with big families, this might not work, but if you could fit it in 2 bags, it'll read with cameras, I guess, or sensors as you put the food in the bag.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty cool. Check it out. But also,
high-tech shopping.
yeah, but support your favorite grocers also, your neighborhood ones who are there for you every day too, and spread the love.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have, I know we have a lot of unpredictability for 2021, but do we have an idea for when the senior center might be reopening?
I do not.
Okay.
It is a safety, you're probably looking at least before the vaccines are out, 6 months before it's widely out there. Yeah, I do not know. There's some discussions.
I spoke with Kathy Fairfield from the Genesis Center, who runs our senior center, Marguerite. And she said that it really, that it's not her call. It's not the village's call. It's the emergency preparedness. Is it Art Clark, I believe?
Yeah, our emergency communications, or our emergency operations, excuse me. But it's kind of the board too, and just, when the numbers are good. I mean, the last thing we want to do is invite our most vulnerable people to kind of congregate together before it's safe to do that. And, the senior bus is another issue, that is a big, we get that keeping our seniors connected is so critical, and we all have the benefit of Zoom and all these other technologies, where for them it's not as easy to do that, and we understand the critical nature, but it has to be safe. It just does. So it's going to be a while, sadly.
Yeah.
So the good news with the senior center, when and Kelly Burke, if you're still on, you helped with this. When the gaming bill was passed, I believe we have $800,000 to put towards building out the senior center, creating a senior center, and it's for brick and mortar type things, not services. So, we have that funding coming. So there certainly will be something in the future, but with the gaming shutdown and all of that, it's unpredictable when that will be. Everything is just kind of, yes.
Dr. Barry, I would say that is one of our greatest we really need a wonderful senior center like the one they have in Burbank. We have so many seniors, such a vibrant senior community. And while we're lucky to have what we have, I'm not disparaging it, but that would be a dream to have a brand new, beautiful senior center in Oakland.
Yeah. Well, the senior center in Burbank is a township center, I believe. So there's other resources in full besides just the municipal resources. I believe it's a township one. But that being said, we're looking for ideas for that, certainly.
Yeah.
But that will be for the next administration.
Any other
other
questions? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't have slides. I usually spend a lot of time on those, but I just didn't feel good about it with this format. But it's really nice to see all of you this way too.
Yeah. That was interesting then. If no one else has any other questions for Dr. Burry, thank you so much. And I, for one, look forward to the next office you hold. I know, well, it's not the last we'll be seeing of you as an elected official. I certainly hope not.
Well, we'll see. give me some time off. Yeah,
you can have a break. All right. Can we move